Put out a very specific statement.
After a morning event at the Chicago Public Library, outgoing Mayor Lori Lightfoot was asked about the Saturday night chaos downtown that led to 2 people shot, 15 arrested, traffic disrupted, and the CTA suspending service into the loop. Lightfoot says there's lots of opportunity to redirect young people to safe spaces, but scoffed at one reporter describing what happened as, quote, mayhem.
And here's the thing, the mass majority of the young people that came downtown because it was a great weather and an opportunity to enjoy the city. That's absolutely entirely appropriate. There are a few that came with different intentions, and they have and they will be dealt with. But I'm not going to use your language, which I think is wrong, to say that is mayhem.
Hey, get the stick! Oh, God, look at these niggas, hey, give me a stick back! Give me a word, look, they get cigarettes and shit! These niggas are get the sticks! Hey, give me some water!
Alright guys, I really hate to be doing this video once again for like the 4th time in 2 or 3 days, but I have to because this is happening all over the country, and the mainstream liberal media would much rather spend time talking about Clarence Thomas and his rich friends than to actually talk about real issues in this country. Like, for example, the crime crisis, which is happening everywhere, right? Happening everywhere, okay? I just finished using the last, 3 days or so to talk about Chicago. And lo and behold, this story right here kind of flew under the radar, but it's just as bad in my opinion as what's happening in Chicago, as you have to go out to LA, okay, a city that is ran by woke progressives. Particularly in this case, we have Mr. George Gascon, who is the George Soros-backed DA of Los Angeles County. Now, apparently it is anti-Semitic to state that fact that this guy is funded and backed by George Soros. According to mainstream liberal media, that is an anti-Semitic dog whistle, right? But again, I don't think facts are hate speech, okay? Facts are not hate speech. So anyways, this guy, this George Soros-backed DA, is presiding over what, again, we're saying is a crime crisis in a major liberal, progressive, metropolitan city, okay? And we're talking about Compton, okay? Compton, California, which is outside of Los Angeles, but still a part of Los Angeles County. You had a mob of people, a mob of thugs, multiracial thugs that decided to take over the streets of Compton and to loot and rob businesses by overrunning them in the middle of the night. Take a look.
Chaos in Compton after a street takeover turns into looting at a nearby gas station.
Yeah, a crowd of about 100 people smashed their way into an Arco. This is near Alondra Boulevard and South Central Avenue. KTLA's Carlos Salcedo live in downtown LA, and he has the very latest on what happened. Carlos.
Good afternoon. That's right. Complete lawlessness in Compton following a street takeover. Dozens of people break into a gas station, then start looting the place, and cameras were in fact rolling.
Hey, get the stick! Oh, God, look at these niggas, hey, give me a stick back! Give me a word, look, they get cigarettes and shit! These niggas are get the sticks! Hey, give me some water!
A mob swarms the Arco gas station on Alondra and Central in Compton after someone smashes through the glass door. Then it's just a free-for-all. This happened around 2:30 in the morning. You see some looters with their faces covered, others not even bothering concealing their identity as they ransack the store. They grab everything from booze to condoms, what some would call the essentials. The Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department says thousands of dollars worth of merchandise was taken. Then, of course, there's the damage left behind. Deputies say the mob was part of a crowd of people who gathered for a street takeover. Now, this sight has become far too common in Los Angeles. This was one of at least 3 street takeovers overnight. 2 others happened on Long Beach and Rosecrans. Vehicles turn and screech through intersections, spinning dangerously close to cheering crowds. Investigators say shots were fired about a block away from where the looting took place, but nobody was injured. Of course, investigators are now trying to identify the suspect seen in those videos posted on social media. They are asking for the public's help. Anyone with any information is encouraged to contact the Compton substation.
Yeah, so I want you guys to understand. Crime is up in Los Angeles overall for 2022, that is 11.6%. Okay? Annual homicides in Los Angeles are at a 15 to 20 year high, almost at a 15 to 20 year high. Okay, it was higher in 2021 and 2022, but it was still very high in 2022, right? Still 15, 20 year high. Burglaries are up. Burglaries are up. Stolen vehicles are up. Assaults are up. Crime is just up, right? Crime is just up in Los Angeles. And what did they do during the election, right? First and foremost, shoplifting is de facto legal in California thanks to Gavin Newsom and the Democrats. So at the statewide level, they reelected Gavin Newsom, right? They reelected Gavin Newsom. At the Los Angeles city level, Compton, they elected another Democrat. In the city of LA, they elected Karen Bass, who is a representative from California, who is for defunding the police.
The movement for police accountability has become a rainbow movement, reflecting the wonderful diversity of our nation and the world.
Congresswoman, you're talking about reforming police, but as you know, a lot of people on the left, including CBC member Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, are talking about defunding police department, disbanding police departments. What do you make of those calls?
So, you know what I think is really needed? And I think that part of the movement around defunding is really about how we spend resources in our country. And I think far more resources need to be spent in communities to address a number of problems. Now, I don't believe that you should disband police departments, but I do think that in cities, in states, we need to look at how we are spending the resources and invest more in our communities. So one of the things that we have in the bill is a way to provide grants to community-based organizations around the country so people can begin to say, what is public safety in our community? What do we want to see? Maybe this is an opportunity to re-envision public safety.
Guys, it's the same song and dance. It's the same song and dance, and you get the same exact result, right? Is it a coincidence that every single last one of these Democrats that come out here with the same buzzwords? We need to reimagine policing. We need to reallocate resources. They claim they're not really defunding the police, right? They don't want to really dismantle the police, but they want to do all these other, creative things, right? They want to invest in these communities. They want to put more money into these communities. Well, you have millions, if not billions of dollars have been poured into these communities for years, okay? Still haven't gotten better. But no, we just need more money, right? We need more money. Look at the result. Look what's happening out there in Compton. Look what's happening. You still have thugs running wild. This time it's not all black, right? Multiracial, okay? You had a multiracial coalition of thugs overrunning and looting businesses, taking over streets. These people, they go out here and they vote for people who are soft on crime and going to continue to let the criminals and the thugs run their communities. Again, it's gotten so bad, right, that even TYT, we're going to talk about Anna Kasparian in specifically. They become a little bit more red pill on this subject of criminal justice reform. They used to be on board with the woke train. Now, even they have been basically forced into a common sense position because crime has gotten that bad in Los Angeles.
I do think that there are progressives. I don't know if it's progressive policy, but progressives in places like California who have made terrible decisions. And so one of those terrible decisions is essentially doing away with anti-camping laws, right? Allowing people to camp out wherever they want, whenever they want. And if, like, we have a homeless problem in California. We have it all throughout the country, but it's particularly bad in California. And so the argument is, well, if there isn't public housing available for people, they should be allowed to camp out. Okay, but there's also a problem right now where there is public housing available and individuals will say, no, I don't want to take it. I don't want to follow the rules in the public housing. And so as a result, I would rather camp out. Progressive lawmakers are like, we should allow them to camp out. And you know what happens? Crime happens. Open air drug markets happen, and it's the truth. These are the facts of the matter. In fact, it was addressed in this Daily Beast article, and honestly, it was cathartic to read it because everyone denies that this is happening.
LA has just become a trash heap. I mean, it's been governed awfully. Forget about who's governing it. Right. The policies that have been used to govern it are just terrible. You have an increase in crime. Homelessness has taken over the streets. And when I was living there, I mean, I've pretty famously talked about this. And it was the kind of place where I had a very nice house in a pretty decent neighborhood, and we had a gate in the front. Mm-hmm. And we would open the gate, and there would be a homeless person face down in the gutter, Edgar Allan Poe style, or there would be a guy outside the house shooting heroin into his foot. And I've got like a 5-year-old. And this sort of stuff has become incredibly common in LA. You noticed it, and you've been getting all sorts of flack for it.
Right, because when there are problems in society, we need solutions. And you can't find solutions unless you acknowledge what the problem is and then properly diagnose it. And denying that the problem exists is the other part of this, right? Denying that there was definitely an increase in crime in big cities drives me crazy. I was assaulted in my own neighborhood. I shared the story. I was shocked at the kind of reaction I got from people who I typically agree with politically. Took my dog out for a walk. 2 guys who were clearly on something. They appeared to be homeless, were walking by me or behind me as I was bending over to pick up my dog's mess. One of the guys grabbed me by the hips and started thrusting at me with an erection. And I know that I wasn't raped, I get it. But at the same time,
that's not the standard.
Something like that for a woman who does not have the ability to defend herself in that moment. I had no weapon, no nothing. I have to think about that at least twice a day when I take my dog out for a walk. It is traumatizing. Yes, I've gone to therapy about it. I'm working through it.
That's not your personal problem. But that's because you were assaulted, yes.
What's making it worse, though, is that I'm the bad guy for sharing this story and saying, hey, we can't just let this kind of stuff happen. We need to find real solutions for it.
Yeah, so T-minus, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 years, right, of dealing with more crime in LA and it having strict gun laws for her to be able to protect herself as a woman. Yeah, she may go red pill on the Second Amendment, right? Anna Kasparian may slowly but surely be on a red pill journey. We'll see. Who knows, okay? Who knows? But, yeah, as you heard there, guys, even the woke progressives are like, the people that continue to vote for this stuff are insane. Like this is out of control. We have a serious problem with crime in these cities, and it's not being talked about. The mainstream little media is spending more time talking about Trump and Clarence Thomas versus what is actually really hurting people in their everyday lives. Again, which is crime, theft, burglary, robberies, murder. And nobody, again, nobody wants to talk about the real problem, which is that, again, we have a culture issue. Again, those kids that you saw looting that gas station have the same problem that the kids in downtown Chicago had, right? They have a culture problem. They have a problem where they probably don't come from good households, probably single mothers, probably lacking fathers. And this is why this behavior continues to happen. It happens in the most degenerate parts of this country. Why is that? Why is that? Culture. And then being soft on crime on top of it, having these woke DAs like a Alvin Bragg, like a Kim Fox, like a George Gascon. They're destroying these cities, man. They're giving the criminals a slap on the wrist. They're not arresting them, not charging them. And then they want to turn around and tell you that, well, they're the victims, right? They're doing this because they're oppressed. right? They're oppressed. That's why they're doing this. They're getting their reparations. You're the problem because you want to lock them up, right? You're the problem. You're the problem because you have an issue with, a store closing down in your neighborhood because of crime. You're a problem because you have an issue with your family members or your son or your daughter being in danger because of crime. You're a problem because you don't want your house burglarized. You're a problem because you don't want to have your guns taken away so that you can't protect yourself. Again, it's absolutely amazing, man. It really is. These woke DAs funded by George Soros and the culture, the degenerating culture that we have in this country, in these interliberal cities, are quite literally destroying these places. They're destroying our once great American cities, who, haven't been run by Republicans for a long, long, long time. I'm just saying, someday, hopefully one of these cities will kind of figure out the common denominator in regards to the crime problem that these places have had for a long, long time. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.